About 2 months ago, I got the idea to build a house for a sim who ran a pet rehabilitation center for unhoused animals in Brindleton Bay because one, it's for my O'Connor Diaries Let's Play. Two, I love cats and dogs. And three, I love Brindleton Bay. It's a nice world, nice Sims, nice vibe. So why not build there for my favorite Sims? Now, the reason why I'm building this house is because I have a Sim named Royce O'Connor in my O'Connor Diaries Let's Play. And if you haven't seen it, I will link it down below in the description. But essentially, Royce O'Connor is the worst elder sim I've ever come across to and has ever made in my 25 years of playing The Sims because I'm a wholesome simmer. I like family gameplay. I love no drama, just simple, plain Jane stuff. But when the game goes left and cause trouble, I'm like, I'm gonna set your house on fire, delete your best friend, and basically throw you in jail. Because you did not have to do that and make my gameplay crazy, but I'm here for it. A little spicy, a little chaos goes a long way in a wholesome household, especially in a family of 5 or 10 or 8. Because Royce O'Connor has done a lot of people dirty since he was 25 years old. He has lost people's money, houses, foundations, businesses, families, you name it, he's done everything in the book. You will not touch that man with a 10-foot pole because if you go near him, you will lose everything. And ever since he was married to Aspen Diane O'Connor, she was an actress, a philanthropist, doctor, entrepreneur, business owner. She ran this foundation from the ground up where she lived in Brindleton Bay, traveled to Delso Valley, Windenburg, Newcrest, all around the world to teach and preach about how it's important to take care of other people, people who are unhoused, people who need money, food, clothes, books, education, healthcare, water, all the things that she believed in, but she trusted the wrong person. She trusted her own husband to take care of like the finances, everything by hiring people, making sure things were right by the book. And lo and behold, things were, but it kind of went sideways as she kind of gained more money, more recognition, and she was kind of going in and out of places without taking Royce with her. And so he kind of felt jealous in that way where he wasn't getting the praise that he wanted, and he came from nothing. He didn't really have a lot going on in his life. He cheated on Aspen, and she didn't know. She never knew up until like maybe a couple of like years before she died, which didn't really go very well because after she died, he got nothing from that will and all that money came to their daughter Aspen Marie, and they have the house in Newcrest. And so it kind of had like a bitter sentiment over the years with Royce, and he lost a lot of people's money, like I said. And this house actually was originally just a regular house, and the sim named Florence Bates, who is now 78 years old right now. She grew up, she was born and raised in Brindleton Bay. She knew the Hecking household, knew their parents, knew their grandparents, knows the cat lady, knows all the local business owners in Brindleton Bay. And all of her life, she always loved animals, how like horses, dogs, cats, birds, you name it, she had it all. And she ran this business within her own home where she was helping unhoused animals to, make sure they get back on their feet, make sure they find a home, a lovely home that, she can trust and know that they are going to be in a nice place. So whether they're injured, they need more food, if they're malnourished, she took them in. All these were strays or were abandoned, and she took them with her own home and made sure they had all the things that they needed. And she made this website, she made this social media brand. Sure, she had help from the Hecking household, and it kind of allowed her to find a new sense of purpose in life. She had no kids, she was never really married, but she had her animals. And so like essentially her animals were her kids. And I think it's like so lovely to have, all these like different things in The Sims, because for me as a creative, I love being able to go into The Sims and build whatever I want, create stories however I want. Of course, with my limitations in The Sims 4, you don't get to do a lot of things. But I think it's really fun and exciting to just kind of tap into that creative side and think outside of the box and hope for the best that it will like translate through gameplay. For sure, you have to use your imagination and kind of like tweak a few things here and there, but essentially all of your ideas are your own and you can like just do whatever you want. And for me, I grew up, in a nice, lovely house with parents and everything, and I love animals. I have a dog named Randy Joe. I'm now a pet parent of a year and a half. He's going to be 4 years old this year in December, which is so crazy to think I'm gonna have a 4-year-old dog. We got him when he was 2.5 back in like June 19th of 2024, and now it's like 2025. So it's kind of crazy how life is already like going and it's changing and it's like all over the place. And he was a breed of surrender, so we don't really know much about his past. The people didn't tell anything to us about where he came from, what was he doing, but all we knew that he was a breed of surrender, 2.5 years old, a Maltese, and he is pretty rambunctious and quite wild, but so lovely, and I adore him so much. I post about him all the time on Instagram, so if you don't follow me there, please do. I do a lot of updates on there, quite a bit more than here on like my community tab on YouTube. But for Florence Diane Bates, she has always wanted to find a way to help all the animals around the world. So she's done things like SimX Talks, like basically TED Talks, but for the Sims. And she's traveled around the world, hosted gigs, speaking engagements. She's done a lot of things for a lot of people around the world. And with the help of the Hecking household, Brant and Brent Hecking, they have a dog named Rosie. And the Hecking household, they have this brand called, I believe it was called Everything is Coming Up Rosie, and Rosie is their dog. And they kind of like help her around, social media, branding, websites, kind of just getting the word out there because she didn't really know much about it. Her background comes from veterinarian, like pet health and everything. So she wasn't really too like sure about the whole social media world and marketing and communications. So kind of that's where kind of the Hecking household came in, where they helped her with her branding, from her logo to her website, social media ads, assets, everything, kind of like the back end stuff that she did not want to do or handle. And like over the years, she's gotten comfortable with like using her phone and social media and kind of understanding like the lingo of like sim talk and things like that. And I definitely want to find a way to make her brand come to life and utilize my degree that I have in UI UX design and kind of see how I can do that because I love brand design more than anything. It's my favorite thing to do. And I have a very fun special series I'm going to do here on YouTube regarding The Sims and my degree. But the sad part about this house is that, sure, it's very lovely, it's very nice and grand, tucked away in the cynical parts of Brindleton Bay, is actually located in that far, like, right-hand corner of Brindleton Bay of that map. It's surrounded by a bunch of trees, like there's a bridge and everything, and on the side, like there's a gigantic lake where you can go fish at. So it's very empty, very open. And what I love about this location is that these dogs and cats and all these animals can roam free, have like this big old side yard because the backyard is not that big. And I believe the size of the lot is a 30 by 20 or a 40 by 30. I cannot fully remember exactly, but we'll tour it in the game towards the end of the video. But I wanted to make it where there was a lot of space for just pretty much anything and everything you can think of. Space for the dog, space for the cat, space for her, and like just space for just everything else she wants to do. And I haven't made Florence yet, but I kind of want to make her and do something with her because she is going to eventually, be real for my O'Connor Diaries Let's Play. Because if you haven't heard the story, Mr. Royce, like I said, he lost a lot of people's trust, houses, money, everything. And this is actually one of the houses that was lost through that like financial bad decision that Royce did. He lost all the money through gambling, which is not a really great thing, and he mismanaged a lot of finances over the past like 30 years of the business, the foundation, and no one knew what was going on behind the scenes. And so he was like trying to figure out how to kind of cover all it up, and when things were going missing, money was going like down low, the records were going missing and kind of being burned away. He kind of blamed it mostly on the people that he hired initially in the very beginning and saying they did this, they did that, and of course they got in legal trouble and went to jail because of what he did. And so he never owned up to any of his mistakes ever, and he still hasn't. And I think he's kind of going through like this weird epiphany thinking, have I done all these things right or have I done all these things wrong? Should I own up to my mistakes? Should I own up to these like problems that I've caused for all these people? And he has caused a lot of people like issues. His own daughter, Aspen, she has no faith, no trust in him whatsoever because he kind of was never really there when she was a child. Like he kind of was here and there, gone all over the place. In like a weird period of her like teenage years, he was just gone for like 3 years, which was so odd. Like he was gone when she was like from 13 to like 16, 17 years old. He was just not there. And of course, Aspen's mother, Aspen Diane, she did her own thing, so she kind of never really thought anything of it. She was thinking like, oh, he's on a business trip, he's doing all the different things, and she was like so busy with other things that she just didn't think about it. And she was also never really home at all to begin with. And so Aspen, their daughter, was being raised by her godmother in Newcrest for quite some time throughout her teenage years. And so she kind of just grew up kind of by herself, not knowing like how to navigate life as, you know, this newfound Nepo baby or some type of like person, because she never really liked the idea of the word Nepo baby or nepotism or whatever it's called, because using her parents, mostly her mom's like fame, name, and everything to get ahead in life, she never really liked that. And she didn't like how things were being handed to her. So she kind of just like cut all that stuff off and wanted to find a way to better herself, but also better her mindset of the way of life, how to earn money through hardworking things, understand the value of a dollar. And she definitely did all of that. She went to university, she lived her life, and she's now doing really well for herself. And I talk about her all the time. And if you have followed along the journey, you would see that she is currently in her third trimester of her pregnancy, about to have her fourth and last, capital L, last child. I will guarantee that, because I cannot handle any more kids with this sim anymore. Aspen needs to move it on. But luckily, she's doing great and she's very happy with her life right now. And she is definitely trying to figure out the best way possible to come to terms that her father is, you know, just the worst person alive. Because what Royce found out recently, about maybe like 3 years ago, is that he has another child that he never knew existed. And this child lives in San Myshuno in the Spice District in a 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom apartment. Actually, no, this sim, I believe, lives in I want to say the Arts Quarter. Usually where Salim lives is where that apartment's at. But essentially it's a literal box, a 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, kitchen, living room is kind of open floor plan along with the hallway area. So he lives in that apartment. I'll explain more in like a different video about who he is and like how he came to be. And his mother, of course, because it's not great. But essentially this house right here, Florence Diane Bates made some very interesting investment decisions over the years. And like I said, she's traveled around the world to talk about the importance of adopting, not shopping, for animals. And she open up your home to fostering pets who need a house to live in, whether it's for a day, 2 days, 3 years, whatever it might be. Always advocating and saying, hey, there's animals out there. Open up your home if you can to help them find a lovely home that's safe, happy, and lovable outside of the elements, because rain, sunshine, snow can be very harmful for pets, because sometimes animals are very low to the ground, have a lot of different issues, a lot going on, and we just don't know. So you have a home, take them in if you can. And that's one of the things that she has been talking about all these years, is that it's important to open up your home to people, animals, places, things that need help. And I'm all about helping people wherever they need help, whether it's through online stuff or whether it's just in general. I always like giving back to my community that has helped me. And I don't know, I'll just do it for the rest of my life. I've always have been doing that. I fundraise on Twitch. I do it all the time, every single year. And it's what I'm going to continue to do for the rest of my life until the day I die. But Florence made a lot of very interesting decisions money-wise. And she has invested in a lot of like financial properties and also trying to get the name out for her business even further. And she invested in Royce. And like I said, Royce made some very weird decisions of how he managed that money. And Florence wanted to open up like this interesting like food pet brand for her rehabilitation center, her whole thing. She wanted to open like a food brand for pets, you know, clothes, kind of like naming all the things for all of it. And she thought that trusting Royce would be a good idea to kind of like further that step to gain more revenue, gain more grants recognition and the social media things. And when it all went downhill, the market kind of literally just crashed out of nowhere. That when the foundation found out that they had literally no money, everyone got up and left. They knew that Royce was a problem, and like Royce didn't acknowledge that he was a problem, even though he was a problem. Everyone just like up and left the building. And so he was kind of like managing all this by himself, making sure that no one knew that the foundation was like hurting. He managed the social media, the events, the galas, the charity events, all the different things that were going around in the foundation originally when he had staff. He did it all by himself. And then eventually he lost, Aspen's childhood home in Brindleton Bay that no longer is there, and also has lost the foundation and lost a lot of trust and lost a lot of businesses trust too. And Florence's business was one of those things. And in order to keep up with the bills and the food and the clothes and all the treats and the training and all the different things that, go into like helping, foster places and rehabilitation centers, it takes money, it takes time, it takes staff, it takes energy. And Florence didn't have a lot of that. And so when she lost all that money, she lost also this home. And so she kind of felt very bad that she made this very weird decision to trust one person in all of this. And, the kind, sweet people that the Hecking household are, they took in some of these pets into their own home. And then, of course, they had to find and relocate some other houses for like the horses and the cats. And luckily everyone has a home in Brindleton Bay and even in Chestnut Ridge, which is very nice. And alongside with Aspen had took in one of the dogs as well, which Royce did adopt through Florence at one time. And so he was going back and forth a lot of different things. And so when Royce lost the house, lost the foundation, the dog had to go back to Florence, and then Florence found a house for that dog, and now Aspen has a dog. It's a whole thing. But I will say though, lo and behold, don't trust Royce O'Connor with a 10-foot pole. He is the worst sim you'll ever come across. If you see him, don't look at him, don't breathe in his direction. He will just cause a lot of trouble. But now he lives in Delso Valley, trying to reclaim his fame, money, and trust in people by helping the lovely retired community of Delso Valley of retired actors and actresses and entrepreneurs. Will he help people? We don't know, but essentially I want to go and explain more about that in the future, but I have a really fun thing I want to do for Florence, and I want to make her brand become a reality in a different video. But I'm going to go into the game and show you all the build in real time, so that way you can kind of get a gist of like what was going on, especially where it's located, and like this the general vibes of what I was trying to do. So now that we're in the game, this is what the house looks like, and personally I like the vibe of the home. I wanted to go with something very simple, easy, very Brindleton Bay-esque. It's not too big, but not too small, but it's located in the very far back of the map of Brindleton Bay. It's called Hindquarter Hideaway. Normally you would see like this little pond over here and like this big wide open space. And personally, I really wish you could like put stuff over here without using tool mod. But if you have tool mod, you simply can like place whatever you want over here and it will all be functional. And I'm thinking I might do that with this particular like save file that I'm working on right now, just because I want to make it more lively and more fun. But this house, I wanted to make sure there was a lot of space for a lot of pets, a lot of Sims, whoever really wanted to live here. You have a lot of space. So upstairs there are 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, this nice open hallway down here. And then downstairs we have the other bedroom over here, living room, kitchen, dining room, and like a little mini office with a hallway bathroom. And personally, when I was making this on stream, I wanted to make sure that it looked very well lived in, but also like not too over the top. So I wanted to make sure that the kitchen was very well stocked with a lot of things, very nice, clean and pristine, and not run down. So I mainly went with the base game counters and cabinets because one, I really like them. They're very affordable, but they also look very fancy at the same time. So you're not really like breaking the bank with these counters or cabinets. So if you have base game, which I think you already do, do and you've updated your game a long time ago, you will see these. These counters only cost your Sims 255 simoleons, and the cabinets cost 200 simoleons. So I would say definitely use them to your advantage if you can. They look very nice and they just feel so like home. But I also really like this long cabinet right here. I just wish you could put like dishes on the inside of them just so that way it looks a little more filled in and lived in, but it looks nice either way. But I want to make sure the kitchen had a lot of space for like cooking, for like your pressure cooker, your pizza oven, waffle maker, whatever it might be. I wanted to make sure you could add all the things on your counters and still have a lot of room to like entertain and move things around. But then over here will be like the dining room area, very small, very simple. I would think that the Sim would use the bar stools over here on this island section instead of using like a big gigantic table, but you can do that if you want to. And if you have laundry day stuff, I was thinking maybe washer and dryer over here, or it can be stacked, and then maybe like a little like bookcase or chair or whatever in this side. And then, of course, your office area will be over here if you want to make it an office or an extra bedroom. You have your hallway bathroom over here with a shower, sink, and toilet. Over here would be the extra bedroom for Florence to live in so she can sleep and relax and do all her things. And over here is going to be the living room area. And I was going to add in a fireplace, but I felt like if I added one, it would have made the orientation of the whole room kind of odd and weird. So I just kind of decided no fireplace for now, but I just like the vibe of it. It feels very nice and neutral. I love this wallpaper from base game. I love this carpet from base game. And for me, I literally did not know that this carpet was base game for the longest time, but apparently we got it in an update a long time ago, and I've just been sitting on here thinking, what is this? When did we get that? But for the upstairs, I wanted to make sure that this space was mainly for the pets and only for the pets. So I was thinking that this side could be mainly for like the dogs since they use a lot of space because they have bigger pet beds than the cats do. And then I thought the cats could sleep over here since they mainly only use like the cat condos or like a small little cat bed because they don't really get any bigger. So I thought small space for cats, big space for the dogs, or vice versa, or you can put them all into one room if you want to. Make this like the pet bedroom and then this like another extra like guest bedroom if you want to. But this one does have like a ensuite bathroom to it, so you do get like a shower tub combo, and of course your nice counters over here, and of course your toilet. And I'm realizing it is dark over here. I gotta add some more lights to this. And there's missing wallpaper, which is not a good thing to have. But I really like this bathroom because it's an L-shaped bathroom. You have your tucked away shower tub combo and your toilet and your sink area, but you still have more space to kind of do whatever you really want on these counters here. And then for the other side, I decided to go with no wallpaper and no lighting, just the windows itself, because I felt like it was going to be a garage, and garages in real life really don't have any wallpaper on them and they're just like bland and boring. So I wanted to go with the same vibe, and I did not add anything to it. It was going to be turned into some type of like workshop, warehouse type of thing, of a bunch of storage and shelves for like the pets, like pet beds, food, pet medicine, all the things in this room. And so leaving it blank kind of captured that vibe for me in my head. And eventually I'm going to furnish this like myself, but I thought making this ready to move in made a lot of sense. But you could kind of understand like the vision of what I was trying to go for this house. And I'm really proud of it. I'm really, really happy that I made this. And now that you know the backstory of Florence and like what she did and how she came to be, especially with Royce and everything into the picture, you kind of understand why this house is the way it is, because she lost everything. So she literally had to move out and live somewhere else because she could not afford the bills here in Brindleton Bay. But that is the entire build as a whole. And if you do want to download it, it's on the gallery already under the hashtag SpringSims or my gallery ID, which is also SpringSims as always. But lo and behold, I hope you all enjoyed today's videos, which as I did. Please let me know down in the comments below, what do you thought of this build, especially what do you think of The Sims 4 Cats and Dogs, especially after it's been out for a couple of years. But as always, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye!